Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brady Young, and today's topic is on singleness. Well, as the title says, being single in a world full of couples. So, I don't know why I did that kind of intro. I just wanted to be a little goofy. I guess it could be weird why I'm so happy to talk about this. Yes, I am single, living in a world full of couples in that sense of all of my friends, well, majority of my friends and majority of my siblings are in relationships, and then there's me. But I do have a few other single friends as well, and for anyone else who's watching, if you're single, well, I guess this video is for you. Just wanted to talk about singleness and the fact that sometimes it can be viewed as very bad, but I'm here to actually talk about in today's video as singleness is actually pretty good. Why is that? I mean, what's so good about being single versus being in a couple, someone that you love dearly, someone who loves you dearly? Well, here's a bad. I'm going to give the pros and the cons of being single. Cons are, I really have no idea what cons could be. Because for me, I'm just viewing singleness in the pro aspect of you don't answer to anyone. It's a common thing that people, when they're single, they always say oh, I don't have to text anyone. I don't have to always text someone good morning, text them good night. I don't have to worry about if I've upset anyone, which, is, I think, a huge relief on a lot of people. I very much enjoy being single, and if you're single too, I hope you can relate in this regards of just that freedom of your time is your own. Whew, and I enjoy having my own free time. For people in relationships, they tend to, when you ask them at times, what do you miss? Because I've asked quite a few people, what do you miss about being single? Sometimes even people that are married, relationships, engaged, and all that, I just ask them, well, what do you miss? A lot of them will sometimes say, that freedom. They enjoy being in a relationship. They enjoy being married. They enjoy being with someone that they absolutely love. But sometimes when you're in a relationship, you just ultimately miss, just having your own free time. Just your time is your own, and you're free in that regard. And so, just talking about that, that's a definite pro of being single. That's such a high pro for me because I have so much time because I do writing. I'm doing YouTube videos now. I'm working on a merch business, which I'll be having the person who I do merch business with on the next video, because I know I said in my previous video talking about passion that I was going to do grace next. So some of you might be confused as to why I'm now talking about being single in a world full of couples. Well, I'm saving it because my friend also, she just has a heart full of grace. She just has the gift of grace, and I want to have her on board for that. And she's also the person that I'm doing my merch business with, so she's a very special guest. But as well for this video, just also the pros of being single is that you just get to enjoy things so much more. I mean, you get to go out more. I'm not saying in a couple you don't get to go out as much or a lot, or because people that are couples, sometimes there are those couples that are they're both extroverts and they just keep on going out. They just love being around people. And then there's the introverts that they like having nights in. And for me, as a single person, I'm a bit of both. I can't remember if there's a correct terminology for someone who's both an introvert and an extrovert. I will sometimes take a night in just watching movies, playing video games, over sometimes just going out with friends, just because for me, if I've gone out so many nights in a row or so many times throughout the week, I'm just okay, I need some time to myself. I just need to recharge. And sometimes I think everyone kind of needs those, where you just, even if you're an extrovert, I think it's also important just to have a night to yourself, just to recharge and relax and just spend a night just blasting music and watching movies. But as well with pros about being single, because that is definitely a pro of just, you get to do whatever you want. You don't answer to anyone. Your responsibility is to no one but yourself. You definitely, as you're single, you get to be selfish. I mean, being single, you get more money, which is a huge plus, I think, for a lot of people. I'm not saying when you're a couple that you don't have money, but I've been told multiple times by people that if you want to get in a relationship, have a job, have money, because dating at times can cost quite a bit. I'm not saying that you need to pay for everything right off the bat. You need to go on expensive dates right off the bat. I'm not saying that. It's good to go on dates, but you do get to have money, which is a definite definite, definite pro of being single. In couples and everything, like there's almost that, like sometimes, just want to clarify, sometimes there's an obligation to spend money at times on both parties' fronts. Like because when you're single, the only birthday you have to worry about is yourself. If you're in a couple, you have to worry about someone else's. You have to remember, that's another thing that's kind of a con, I'm going to say right now, of being in a relationship. That's definitely a con for certain things when you're in a relationship. Like you have to remember anniversary dates. You have to totally just get Valentine's Day gifts. You have to get birthday gifts. You have to get Christmas gifts. You have to get all these things, which I'm just going to put us out there right now. I can't wait to do those kinds of things. I'm just a very giving person. I love doing like these grand gestures kind of things, and like I like being spontaneous kind of things. But when you're single, you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. And since, Valentine's Day is around the corner, I decided, why not do this video? So the people that are single for Valentine's Day, it's like, just remember the fact that you get to have a night into yourself, watch whatever you want, do whatever you want, and just eat chocolate. Because that's what I'll be doing. But no, you don't have to remember a lot of things when you're single. Like, you don't have to remember birthdays for your significant other. Like, because if you forget your significant other's birthday, it's like the ultimate wrath just comes down on you. Same with anniversary days. If you forget your 1 year, let's just not even talk about that, because that's a lot of silence. But moving on, for those are the pros and everything, and definitely a pro of that is money. Your time is your own. You get to be selfish, which is very good, because you just get to do a lot more. I think it's very important for people to go through a time of being single, as I'm doing right now. I've challenged myself to stay single for a year, and we're going to talk more about that, and because that's going to be more on that later in this video, maybe. But I definitely think that it's important for people to go through a time of singleness, because then you just get to know who you are when you're single. You get to just see who you are as your own person. You don't have to see yourself through someone else's eyes, not kind of in that way of you're not trying to make that person like you by doing certain things. Like, you just learn to love yourself. And for me, being single right now, and being single throughout times throughout like in between times of being in relationships, I've discovered like who I am at times, and I've gotten to a point of where I love who I am, and I'm not going to ever change. And that's the one thing I'm going to say is never change for someone, because if someone doesn't like you for who you are, then don't bother in that. Why change? Like, if people around you, your family, your friends, your coworkers, they absolutely love who you are for you, and the person that you have interest in doesn't, then that's their problem. Like, ultimately, it is their problem. If the person that you like does not like you because of just a little kind of few things about you, they just, like, if it's almost like a sense, like, if you just get this feeling of they're trying to change you, then I would say, you need to put that person on the back burner and not ever worry about them again, because don't change who you are for anyone. Like if you're lazy all the time, like, definitely I would say, like, if you're lazy in that sense of you don't want to get up off the couch, if you don't want to do anything, if you're staying in bed all day, like, just repeatedly, like, then you might not get into a relationship, because people want someone who's motivated. Like, some people want someone who's going to be willing to go out and do things and just not be lazy. Everyone wants someone who's motivated and who has something to chase after. Everyone wants to be with someone that has a dream and a goal and a passion. But no, like, don't ever change for anyone. Like, 'cause that's very important. I've learned is there's been a few times where I've had people look at me and they look at me like, you're a bit different now. And I've had to step back and look like, am I actually changing for the person, or am I changing for me? Am I changing to better myself, or am I changing for someone to like me? And it could be a temporary relationship where, I could possibly lose friends. And I've had relationships like that where I've had to end them, where it's just like, I'm changing, I'm becoming someone I don't want to. And I've watched that happen with other people, where they get into relationships and they start changing just to fit in with that person, just so they like them, which is not a very healthy thing to do. Like, don't ever change. Like, that's a definite thing I'm going to say. Like, just being single is so good, because you discover who you are, what you want, what your vision is. And so moving into that, talking about that, we're going to talk about standards. Now, standards is a very touchy subject because everyone likes to talk about standards in a negative light. Excuse me. But it's not. I myself have my own standards for the person I would like to be with, the person I would like to marry. Now, sometimes people could look at standards as, oh, you're shooting too high. And when I say standards, I don't mean shooting ridiculously high. Like off the charts, like kind of Disney related kind of stuff. Because my opinion on that is if you're wanting someone who just like is flawless, who is absolutely perfect in every regard, and I don't mean this in any rude way, but if someone is that high up on the chart and they can do no wrong, they are just absolutely perfect, they're absolutely flawless, there's nothing, you can't find anything wrong with them. And again, not to be rude, why would they want someone who is not like them? If they're absolutely just that perfect, then they would want someone who is just like that. Like they want someone who is perfect like them. And now to talk about standards, it is good to have a set of standards just because I believe that if you have standards, it means you won't ever go like below that. You won't ever, I guess, settle. And I'm not trying to be rude in any regards. I'm not saying that anyone settles for anyone. And I apologize because I know I say in regards and in that sense. I say those things a lot, so I apologize. I was just about to say it, I swear. But no, if you set out standards, it actually means that you want a set of things. You want this kind of person, and you won't go below that because you won't settle. And I'm not saying settle in a bad way. I'm just saying that if you have someone like that you want, like who has the same beliefs as you, because for me, I'm a Christian. I want someone who is going to love God more than they will ever love me. And so, like, if you're going for someone who doesn't believe, who doesn't have the same visions as you, like, that could end badly. Like, for me as a Christian, I've dated people throughout the years who are not Christian, and it can be a weight on me because sometimes they just keep on questioning who I am. They keep on questioning my faith. They keep on sometimes, like, even teasing me about it, which to me is, like, it's not a healthy relationship. It's not. And so on that, it's like you want to kind of date someone who is within that same sense, like they have that same belief system as you. And sometimes it is also good to date someone who is the exact opposite of you in that sense of like, okay, sorry, I said sense again. It's good to date someone who is opposite because I find that if you date someone who is way too similar to you, it can sometimes clash. Like for me, I'm a writer. I don't know if I could actually marry someone who is a writer just because I feel like we would be critiquing ourselves way too much. Like, I feel like we'd end up fighting over that. What else? Like, for me, I kind of want someone who's also, like, has a healthy lifestyle, who likes working out, because I know that some people, when they hear women or they hear men, they talk about, like, oh, I want someone who is fit, I want someone like that. It can be looked at as, oh, they're shallow. Like, they're not shallow, because I've learned from working out that it's a commitment thing. And that's a big thing that it says to men and it says to women, that when you see someone and they're living a healthy lifestyle, if they're like their body type is just like good, like guys that have abs or women that like are just healthy and all the stuff, it's that sense of like, it says to that person like you're willing to commit to something. It's that willingness that like, you know, you're willing to put in hard work. You're willing to put in blood, sweat, and tears. If you're willing to work out and just punish yourself, because that's what working out is, it's self-punishing. Like you're doing something that at the beginning you absolutely hate, it's painful, you just get sore afterwards, but it just gets better. And sometimes that can be how relationships are. Like sometimes some relationships are blood, sweat, and tears, and that sometimes you're gonna fight. It's the fact that if you work through it, if you push through, it gets better in the long run. And so, like, and that's where I'm kind of getting that sense when I hear them say, like, oh, I want someone who works out, I want someone who's healthy, I don't see it as, oh, it's shallow. No, I see it as, like, they want someone who is willing to commit because it says to that person, like, I'm willing to commit. And so for me, like, when I say I want a woman who does working out and all this stuff, who lives a healthy lifestyle, it's to me, it's she's willing to commit to something. The same thing that like if I, because I like working out, so that would probably say to a lot of women and everything, like, oh, he's willing to commit to something. So, and that says in people's minds, like if they're willing to commit to that, then they're willing to commit to me. I want to build up a friendship first with someone. Like I would like to talk to them for maybe quite a few weeks to maybe like quite a few months before starting anything. Because when you build up that friendship, you're kind of seeing them in a different light than you would in a relationship. Because when you're in a relationship, that person is doing quite a bit of things to come across as good. Like it's a representative in the beginning of a relationship. So if you're friends with someone first, or you've known someone for so many years, and then you get into a relationship, sometimes the relationship is a lot healthier just because you've seen them in a setting. Like you see how they are around your friends, their friends, how they are alone, how they are around their family, and you just see them and you know how they are. And so if you just meet someone right off the bat, like blind dates and everything, it's a representative at the beginning. And so it can be very different because I've heard a lot of times, I see a lot of these stories online, I read a lot of these in these articles, and just hearing it from different people that I've known that come out of relationships that like, oh, they change. Well, no, it's a representative. Like you're not dating the actual person. Like the first date, if you just meet them right off the bat, you're not dating the actual person. You're dating the representative. And so that's why for me on part of the list is like I want to build like quite a bit of a foundation first before ever jumping into a relationship. Um, and I didn't want to take too much time on this video, so I didn't get to talk about that year of singleness. So maybe I will in another video talk about like my decision on a year of singleness and all this other stuff. There's a lot of content I want to do, but I just hope you feel encouraged from this video of like being single is that there's pros of it as that like you get to have money, which I think in today's day and age, like a lot of people do, but money is not always important. But no, like the pros of being single is money, freedom of your own time. You get to be selfish more. You just get to do whatever you want. I just want to encourage, like, just enjoy being single. If you're single right now, it's a season of your life where, you know, you just get to find out who you are. And when you find out who you are, you absolutely fall in love with who you are. And you know what? You get to love you for you. You just get to love who you are. And so as always, I hope you feel encouraged. This is another video on positivity. So as usual, all the links for my social media will be in the description below, as the rest will be the rest of my other links. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and stay tuned for more because this week I will be talking about grace, and I promise this next video will be about grace. So have a good day.